On April 21st, 2025, the world paused as the Vatican announced the death of Pope Francis, the 266th Pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church. At 7:35 a.m., Cardinal Kevin Farrell, the Vatican's Camerlengo, stood at KUZA Santa Marta and delivered the somber news.
Carissimi fratelli e sorelle, con profondo dolore devo annunciare la morte del nostro Santo Padre Francesco.
The 88-year-old Pope, who had battled respiratory illness, left behind a legacy that reshaped the Catholic Church. But who was the man behind the white cassock? And what happens now as 1.4 billion Catholics mourn and await a new leader? Let's dive into the story of Pope Francis, his life, controversies, and the road ahead. Born Jorge Mario on December 17, 1936 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Francis grew up in a working-class family of Italian immigrants. The son of a railway worker, he was one of the 5 children, steeped in faith and community. As a young man, he faced a life-altering moment when a severe respiratory infection led to the removal of part of his lung, a health challenge that would follow him for decades. Initially training as a chemist, Bergoglio felt a calling to the priesthood. Entering the Jesuit order in 1958, his humility shone early as he took public transportation and lived simply, earning a reputation as a priest of the people during Argentina's turbulent Dirty War.
When Pope Francis was Archbishop in Buenos Aires, he used to ride public transportation, and he used to criticize people in the clergy who had extravagant lifestyles. This also translated into his life as the Pope.
In 2013, after Pope Benedict's historic resignation, the world turned to the Vatican. On March 13th, Jorge Bergoglio emerged as Pope Francis, the first Jesuit, first Latin American, and the first non-European Pope in over 1,200 years. His choice of the name Francis, inspired by Saint Francis of Assisi, signaled his focus on poverty and simplicity. Rejecting the opulent papal apartments, he chose to live in the modest KUZA Santa Marta guest house, a move that defined his approachable papacy.
Francis is a name that no pope ever had chosen. And I think in his case, a fellow cardinal in the conclave who whispered to him, "Don't forget the poor." And it was at that moment he chose the name Francis. And it has embodied his entire style, not living in the papal palace, driving his old car, wearing simple clothes, same old shoes. That sort of thing is very strange.
From the start, Francis aimed to reform a church rocked by scandal, emphasizing mercy, interfaith, dialogue, and care for the marginalized. Francis' papacy was not without controversy. His progressive stances, blessing same-sex couples, denouncing laws against homosexuality, and prioritizing climate change won praise from some but sparked fierce criticism from conservative Catholics. In 2025, he clashed with US bishops over immigration policies, calling for a fraternity open to all in response to mass deportations. The handling of the Marco Rupnik abuse case also drew scrutiny, with critics arguing the Vatican was slow to act. Meanwhile, a 2024 YouTube show, The Sacristy of the Vendee, caused uproar when a priest jokingly prayed for Francis to go to heaven soon, highlighting tensions within the church. Yet, Francis remained steadfast, saying, quote, "I am a sinner," and urging unity. Pope Francis' health had long been fragile. In February 2025, he was hospitalized with a double pneumonia, a complication tied to his lifelong lung issues. Doctors called his survival a miracle, but the ordeal left him weakened. On Easter Sunday, April 20th, 2025, Francis made a final public appearance, blessing crowds from an open-air pop mobile in St. Peter's Square.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, buona Pasqua.
Less than 24 hours later, he passed away at Casa Santa Marta, surrounded by aides. The news triggered global mourning, with leaders like Ursula von der Leyen praising his humility and love for the less fortunate.
His favorite expression is the church should not be self-referential. It should bring the gospel out to the world that so much needs it today. I think his election to the chair of Peter has been an enormous sign.
The death of Pope sets in motion ancient rituals. Cardinal Kevin Farrell, as Camerlengo, confirmed Francis' death and sealed his apartments. Unlike past popes, Francis requested a simple wooden coffin and burial at St. Mary Major Basilica, not St. Peter's. His body will lie in state for public viewing, followed by a funeral in St. Peter's Square within 6 days. Then, 15 to 20 days later, the conclave begins in the Sistine Chapel, where 138 cardinals under 80 will vote in secret to choose the next pope. Black smoke signals no decision. White smoke announces Habemus Papam. We have a pope. With 80% of voting cardinals appointed by Francis, his progressive legacy may shape the outcome. Pope Francis leaves a church more open yet deeply divided. His focus on the poor, migrants, and the environment redefined the papacy. But challenges like the clergy abuse crisis remain unresolved. As the conclave looms, the world watches. Will the next pope continue Francis' reforms or chart a new course? For now, Catholics and beyond reflect on a pontiff who said, "I am like you," and dared to make the church a servant of all. Newsroom, Maisha TV, reader Kering Chebet.